Good day. In a previous video, I covered a stablecoin called GXX. Indeed, it's the first of its kind. It's the world's first growth coin. It has all the characteristics of a stablecoin, but it's got a built-in mechanism for growth. If you want to check that out, check out the previous video. They're still on sale, and it's well worth having a look. During that video, I mentioned other cryptocurrencies, in particular other stablecoins, and during that, I mentioned a coin called DAI. DAI is another stablecoin with a difference. What makes it different? Before I get into that, very quickly, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. I treat this video as information only. So what makes DAI different to some of the other stablecoins that we might be more familiar with, such as the likes of Tether or USDC coin? Both of those coins are backed by collateral. So for example, for every $1,000 of Tether that's minted, there needs to be $1,000 of fiat dollars or other equivalent assets backing it. A very onerous process based on those centrally governed cryptocurrencies. It also means that we need to trust in them that they actually do have the assets backing the value of Tether that they have in the market. And of course, Tether has had question marks around that. So why is DAI different? Well, DAI is actually run by an algorithm. This is what they use to try and ensure that it remains stable. They do this by their parent organization, a parent company called MakerCoin, so it's MKR. Maker is the parent organization, and they run what is called MakerDao. DAO, D-A-O, stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. What this basically means is it's run through a blockchain-based smart contract that runs the Maker protocol. This differs from the likes of, a normal fiat currency where the likes of the Fed or central banks will decide what percentage rates should be there. Within Maker, this is all done through smart contracts on the blockchain. So how does this work? So for example, if DAI, which is softly pegged to the dollar, if it starts creeping up in price, the protocol will reduce the interest rate on borrowing DAI. What does that do? Well, it will encourage more people to actually use the platform to borrow DAI, which increases the circulation and supply, which in theory brings the price down. Of course, in the opposite direction, if DAI is going below the dollar, they increase the price, the percentage rate, and this will encourage people to sell or pay back their DAI, which in turn reduces the circulation, which should in theory increase the price. And this is one of the mechanisms that they use to ensure the stability of DAI. So how does the actual process work? So how it works is if you, for example, have 3,000, or let's say you want to borrow $1,000 worth of DAI, which is approximately equivalent to 1,000 DAI. To do this, you will need to put in some collateral. The collateral you can use are the likes of Ethereum. They now accept BAT and a number of other cryptocurrencies. Let's use Ethereum as the example. So if you want to borrow $1,000 worth of DAI, then you will need to put in a minimum of 150% to value of what you're borrowing. So in this example, you're borrowing $1,000 worth of DAI, you will need to put in a minimum of $1,500 worth of Ethereum. In that process, you lodge your Ethereum, they mint the DAI, and you get your $1,000 worth of DAI to do whatever you will with. At some point into the future, you will repay that DAI. So you repay it back into the system. In doing so, you will have to pay what they call a stability fee. This is equivalent to an interest rate. The interest rate fee must be paid in Maker. So as you pay back your $1,000 worth of DAI, you also pay your percentage in Maker. So this means you need to buy some Maker, you pay to them, and they actually burn Maker. Why would they do this? Well, as you buy it off the exchange, it's increasing the potential value of the coin. They take those coins and burn them. This in turn creates less circulating supply of Maker, and in theory increases their price. The DAI you repay back are burned, so there's now the same number of DAI in circulation as there was prior to you borrowing it in the first place. So what do you need to watch out for? Well, a few things. The interest rate that you borrow the DAI at is variable. It tends to be between somewhere between 0.5% and 4 or 5%, but it has gone outside of those ranges. And so this is something you need to keep an eye on. If the percentage rate goes up dramatically, you need to be or should be in a position to be able to pay off that DAI so you're not paying that high interest rate. And if by chance the percentage rate goes really low, maybe you might want to use your collateral even more and maybe borrow a little bit more DAI against that. The choice is yours. Another thing to be very aware of is the collateral that you have in place. So the minimum collateral you have in place must be 150% to the value of what you're borrowing. So in the example, you can never leave it below the $1,500 of Ethereum staked in order to have that $1,000 worth of DAI. Should your collateral go below the 150% collateral that they require, the protocol the smart contract will run the protocol which will start to sell off your Ethereum in order to cover their position. So many would advise the best thing to do is actually over collateralize. So instead of putting in $1,500 worth of Ethereum, maybe put in $2,000 worth, or maybe even $3,000 worth. If you put in $3,000 worth, even if Ethereum was half in value, you still would have that 150% collateral covered. You certainly want to avoid your position being sold off. Number one, they're selling off your Ethereum, and number two, there's a 13% charge, so you don't want to get in that position. So why would anyone do this? Why would you put up so much collateral in order to borrow against it? Well, let's assume that you have 3,000 worth of Ethereum or any value, but you really believe in Ethereum, you believe in its future growth. Well, then you won't want to sell your Ethereum. Let's say you have some real world bills that you need to pay and Ethereum is all you've got. Well, one option is you just sell your Ethereum, but now you've reduced your position, and if you believe in the value going forward, you won't want to do that. Your option here is put it into the Maker protocol, take out your DAI and use that to convert into normal dollars and pay some bills. At a later date, when you've got your money, you can buy the DAI back, replace it, pay your percentage rate, and away you go. Another option that some people might choose to do, though I certainly would think it would be high risk, is to leverage using the system. So you put in your 3,000 worth of Ethereum, get out your $1,000 worth of DAI, use that DAI to buy more Ethereum, which is increasing your position in Ethereum. Of course, if it goes up in value, you're a real winner. However, if it goes down in value, you could be in big trouble. So not something you want to do unless you're really well up on this area. The other thing you may want to do is you may want to borrow the DAI in order to invest it in different platforms such as Aave or Compound. These are platforms that will actually pay you a percentage when you lodge your cryptocurrency, specifically DAI, which they really like because of its stability and because it's trustworthy. You can lodge that in with them and they'll actually pay you an interest rate. So as long as the interest rate is bigger than the interest rate you're paying to Maker, well, now you're making money. Another option, and this is something you're definitely going to want to hit the subscribe button for, is I'm going to be doing a video on a couple of different platforms that are consistently paying between 10 and 15% per month on money that you have invested with them. So this gives you a great option either with spare cash you've got, or maybe you're borrowing against the Ethereum, you can go into the system. Make sure not to miss those videos, they're coming out very soon. Another video you might want to watch, and I'll be doing next video out, is I'm going to show you a platform of social media. This is something extraordinary. So we're all familiar with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Zoom, etc. Imagine having all those platforms in one. How convenient would that be? You're not having to switch from one to the other. Imagine a platform where you are completely in charge of your privacy and your details are not sold to anybody else. Platforms that are not censored. I think we've all seen recently that a lot of the platforms out there, unless you're saying what they agree with, it's censored and it doesn't get out there. This platform, not a problem. And a platform where you get properly paid for the information and from the what you are putting up there. So for example, in Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, you don't get paid for the information you put up there. With this platform, you can, and really well. And this is all wrapped in a cryptocurrency project called Apollo FinTech. You're not going to want to miss it. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Thanks for helping out the channel, and we'll talk to you all very soon.